Hi, my name is Candid Wüest. I'm the Vice President of Cyber Protection Research at Acronis. And in this HelpNet security video, I will be talking about cyber attack trends versus the growing IT complexity. We probably all agree that ransomware is still one of the biggest threats to many organizations out there. Many organizations have already fallen, and of course, you would think they have learned from it. Most companies still make one mistake. They think, well, the cyber attackers, they might not get after them because they're just a small or mid-sized company. Or they think, well, I'm all protected because I have a backup which is working, so I have nothing to fear from ransomware. Unfortunately, of course, ransomware attacks are long beyond just encrypting your data. Nowadays, most of the attackers actually do double extortion, meaning they will steal your information before they start disrupting and encrypting the local data. In some cases, we have seen groups moving completely over to just exfiltrate data, like the Lapsus group, which was active earlier this year. So having a backup is definitely important, but it's not all that is needed to protect against ransomware attacks. We have seen that many of those attackers now just try to get in through different avenues. Email is, of course, still one of the biggest malware delivery method at the moment. Attackers have moved away from the classical Word document with a macro to mostly using zip files or ISO image files at the moment, containing link files or some other tricks to actually load the malware with some social engineering tricks. But we have also seen that many groups have started to go indirectly into the company through trying to get access by initial access brokers. Those are underground sites which trade access, might be from a previous phishing breach where some employee got the password and actually delivered it, or of course might be another malware which has already installed a backdoor, and now this access can be sold. We have also seen that ransomware groups like Lockbit are trying to recruit insiders. So now they're trying to motivate any disgruntled employee to actually install the ransomware or the backdoor themselves and then get a percentage of any ransom which might be paid by this victim. So the question is, do you really trust all your employees? Do you really trust all the employees of any partner organization that might have access to you? Because this is the third method that we see increasing, that the attackers are using kind of consulting companies or supply chain attacks to get to the final target. We have, for example, seen that the Lapsus group managed to get their hands on Okta, and with that they managed to then breach Microsoft, Nvidia, and some other companies. So having, of course, access to a supporter account or a consulting account which might already have limited access to your organization gives them a huge advantage of finally breaching all the different sectors inside the companies. So those are some of the tactics that we've seen being used to actually get into the companies. And of course, yes, we also wanted to know, how do companies actually protect against software supply chain attacks? So we did a survey, and in the survey, more than 50% of the recipients said, oh, software supply chain attacks, not an issue for us, because we're only using trusted software. And if you think about it, this actually means that more than half of the recipients did not understand what a software supply chain attack is. As of course, it is exactly coming through trusted software packages that you might have installed, where the vendor itself or along the way, someone managed to sneak in malware, which is now using that trusted channel to get inside your organization. And among the same lines, we see more and more attacks going after service providers and managed service providers. They often, of course, have access to the customer site, mostly for deploying new software, for updating, maybe also for analyzing the security log files. But this, of course, makes it an ideal point for attackers. Because if they manage to breach one of those service accounts, then they might be able to get to all the end customers of that managed service provider, therefore multiplying their potential victims and their potential revenue. As keep in mind, some groups, like the Conti ransomware group, they made more than 2.7 billion US dollars Not all groups made that much money over the years, but of course, every of those groups is trying. So if they get into a service provider, they will then try and use the software which is already installed against the company. So that could be using the deployment to actually roll out new malware, could be to uninstall any security product through the admin console. Of course, they're trying to delete backups as well. If it's not an immutable backup or the security solution does not protect the backup, your backups that you might have thought were safe might now be deleted. We have also seen some groups starting new backup jobs, but to different locations. So they're renting their own, let's say, Azure or Amazon cloud and exfiltrating the data through a backup. So your network security might not trigger on it because you just think it's another backup without realizing that it's going to a different location. So there are many ways how they can use the tools which are already present. So it's a classical living off the land attack, using legitimate tools, legitimate ways to actually get into the company and roll out all those malware backdoors or anything else that they want to do. So, well, what can you do against it? Well, there are, of course, many point solutions out there for all the different problems, starting from backup, patch management, antivirus solution, or endpoint detection response, and so on. But point solution is probably not the right way because you're also increasing the complexity of your IT infrastructure. In the same survey, we also asked, how many security solutions are you running in parallel? And 22% responded that they are using more than 10 security solutions in parallel. Just think about it. 22% are using more than 10 security solutions in parallel. There is a big chance that misconfiguration will happen, and therefore some human error might make a detection no longer visible. So you think you're protected, but because the products might not be aligned, you actually miss something. So adding just more point-to-point solution will, of course, slow down your endpoint because you're adding new agents which might overlap. You might even pay for some functionality that is in multiple products and you can only use it from one. So you're paying for something that you're not using. But the complexity is what usually brings down the companies. We saw that last year, 76% of the companies had a server down or a system outage, but only in about a third of the cases, it was due to a cyber attack. In half of the cases, it was due to software crashes or human errors. And that's exactly those configuration issues that you might get. So to increase your resilience against ransomware and other cyber threats, you need to consolidate. You need to make it easier to actually operate on all the different solutions that you have. And it's not just about less training and kind of easier handling with a vendor. It's also, of course, about the gained benefit once you breach the silos. Because now you can have your security solution scan your backups in the cloud so you don't have a negative performance hit on the endpoint. Or you can analyze the backups for forensic and not just wait till something happens. Or, of course, you gain the visibility now across all your infrastructure, not just for patch management, but also for the installed software, which can help you in the case of software supply chain attacks, when you have something like Log4j, and you want to find out, do I actually have those software components in my environment? So breaking down, making it easier by reducing the complexity and increasing the benefits in protection by breaking those silos is the way forward, because the attackers, they are definitely moving forward. So why shouldn't you? Thank you very much for your attention and have a great day. Thanks.